Hi there and welcome back, and let's just start by saying that this song, Up To Me by BiSH, is part of this fantastic idea, this run of 12 songs in a row, one coming out each month, basically as its own single, with its own music video standing on its own. I absolutely love that. I love how they're doing a little dance video on set to go with each of the music videos as well. They're really giving each one of these songs its own standalone love, its own fanfare, its own opportunity to really be seen. However, when we're reviewing these songs, I'm assuming that they're all going to come together and culminate in an album. The final BiSH album by the look of it. And so I kind of can't help but think to myself, should I be viewing them all as singles, or kind of accepting that there are going to be certain ones which are going to be seen in the future as album tracks? Well, I'm going to still view it on its own right when we come to Up To Me, but you know, I must say, whatever my thoughts on any of these songs, I am just loving the whole concept of what they're doing with this whole BiSH is Over thing. I think what a fantastic high note to go out on, and yeah, I just love everything about this. So let's get into talking about what Up To Me is, because this one's got kind of an interesting personality, as most of these songs have had. So let's start by breaking down the concept of this song. Conceptually, Up To Me is kind of both doing something of an interesting mixture of sounds, but also covering certain grounds that we've seen BiSH go to before. It has got that sort of hard rock guitar feel to it that is definitely a charging rock song more than anything else. It's got a lot of those distorted, punky sort of glitch sounds that we also know that they love to do, with a little bit of a dubstep vibe coming in the bridge there, and it's got a thumping beat which is really dancey, sort of head banging underneath it all, and it all comes together to therefore give you something of a very hard edge charging but still kind of a nod along dancing sort of song as well. It has got that gritty, distorted, dancey edge. These are all things that we've seen BiSH do before. Do they come together well in this song? Yeah, this is a really effective combination. Everything really does feel in character. Nothing sort of stands out as being out of place. It really feels like you can see that they've played with these sorts of sounds before and they know how to put them together. And it also plays lovely to that sort of punkish personality that we know that BiSH have. Where it falls down, unfortunately, is that the distorted sound is very present on the vocal and detracts from the one thing that BiSH is like their superpower, it's their strongest thing, which is that they all have such different voices and yet they work so well together. It injects so much character into songs. Even their slightly less interesting songs always benefit from them having really different voices. Now, although they do throw in very different performances, each member, unfortunately the distortion of the vocals does kind of mean that all their voices end up sounding kind of similar. So yeah, it does take away a little bit of the character from the vocal having that much distortion on the voices, and yet I can't help but say that it is very much in keeping with the sound that they're going for. So conceptually, at least they really lean into what they're doing, and yes, it is very effective as a sort of a gnarly, angry, distorted sounding, head-bopping dance song. From a songwriting perspective, I actually think that this song, although again it's one of the more simple songs that they've done, it really is effective. The chorus in particular, really catchy one. I would say if it wasn't for that slight lack of vocal clarity, this is such a catchy chorus that I can imagine it being one that would probably push them up to some fairly good radio play. It kind of almost makes a good case for the idea that the distortion would have been very good present in the verses on the vocals, but then having gone away for a clean style vocal performance in the choruses. And I partly also say that because there's a nice change in the beat. The beat, which is kind of charging and doing that head bob, constant, you know, unstoppable rhythm during the verses, goes down to a much more half-time sort of swinging, slower head bob, more of an anthemic sort of beat in the choruses. It has a nice rhythm change there, and I like that. It gives more clarity, more room for the melody to come out, which is again why it would be nice if the vocal at that point suddenly went clean, but I'm not going to just keep on harking on about that vocal effect, I swear. It isn't, you know, after a few listens you stop caring about it that much. You just kind of feel it as a missed opportunity. However, the songwriting, not a missed opportunity at all. I think it is a really good example of how to do a simple and effective song, slowing down the beat in the chorus to give more impact and more swell to it. Having a chorus that has a really good, catchy, simple melody that's good at getting stuck in your ear, but not in too much of a sort of annoying earworm way. Having a bridge that therefore drops the melodic feel and goes to something a little bit more glitchy, a little bit more dubsteppy. That was a nice little twitch as well. Twitch? Is that the word? I don't know. Nice little turn, a nice little thing Need a thesaurus. Yes, I just thought the songwriting as a general was an example of how to do something that had, again, a little bit of edge, but also a lot of catchy, memorable, accessible melody, and again, a very clear attitude to it. A quick note does also have to be given to the music video, which I believe my co-presenter on live chat, James, mentioned it looked like they were stuck in an air conditioning factory, and now every time I go back and look at it, yeah, I can't help but feel that's kind of true. I was just thinking, wow, it's sparkly, but now I'm seeing all of those sort of silver-looking hoses everywhere. Okay, it does look like an air conditioning factory. That being said, one of the things I did point out is that the budget being stretched over effectively 12 singles for this whole album is more going to affect the music videos than anything else, and so I am not expecting expensive looking music videos. I'm expecting them just to have fun and character when they make each one, and there did seem to be character and fun here, right down to people falling over off the edge of set. It was a video where you kind of got to see them as a band allowing their personalities to shine, which is always, again, as I said with the songs, whenever they're working with something which isn't maybe 110% their best thing, their personalities usually carry it the rest of the way. Whether it be a song that isn't one of their best ones, their delivery is usually what carries it. If it's a music video which is not one of the most interesting, their performance usually carries it. And here that's very much the case, but that's not to detract from the fact that the video is still kind of aesthetically bizarre enough to be kind of fun. You know, it's got this weird 80s, I don't know, Flash Gordon, everyone is dressed up in weird silver things like we're out of space or an air conditioning factory. It looks crazy, it looks bright, it's distinct, and it's carried by some good performances. Again, as I mentioned with the previous music video to the song, which his name I've already forgotten, the music video benefited from some good camera work. You know, there was the right amount of movement, some shots where it was rotating, you know, moving in and out of shots, you know, nice sort of attention to actually showing the character of the band members, showing their facial expressions, their dance performances. So yeah, the music video, it was a good example of how to make something effective on a fairly low budget and also give it a little bit of character as well. So I was all for that. But in conclusion, we kind of got to come back to that first point again, which is that, yeah, if you were viewing this as this is BiSH's new single, you'd be like, okay, it's interesting, you know, it's a nice thing coming from a band who was so, you know, so historically known for doing out there weird songs. It's effective, it's got a good chorus, it's got an interesting concept, it carries a mood across, that's all great. But if you kind of take that out of your head and say, no, this is just an album track from their latest album, and they just happen to put a music video with it, you'd be saying, wow, great, we got a music video for an album track, awesome. You'd be saying, wow, this is really catchy for an album track. You'd be saying, wow, it's really interesting, it's got such a distinct concept. Yeah, we've heard some of these sounds and things played with a lot by BiSH before, but still, you know, it's unique enough. There's a lot of things that would really make you go, this is a great album track. For me, it's somewhere between being a good single and a good album track, and that's fine, that's great, that's kind of what we really expect from these 12 songs. And if we're looking at these 12 songs as a general, totally, I know we're coming towards the end of this run, but I, for one, really am looking back at the list of songs they've released and thinking, this is a really great run. You know, so many of these songs have, there's been a couple where have been like, okay, that makes a good album track. There's been some where you say, wow, that's a great single, and a lot which have just been in between. Every song has had a unique identity. They've really felt fresh. Nothing here has felt like a dud, and I think this is going to make an absolutely classic album. I love what we're hearing as a total rounded package. I'm really looking forward to seeing the track list, like the order they choose for this, because I'm an album listener. I know people like playlists. I do like playlists, but I'm an album kind of guy still. So old. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this in its home, in its final context on, assumedly, the sort of BiSH is over final album. But on its own, I'm just really glad it's a good, fun, interesting song. Shame that it doesn't quite allow their voices to come out as much, but still, it is a very BiSH song nonetheless. I thought it was great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys say in the comments, and I'm just kind of glad as well that they gave it a music video, because they didn't need to do 12 music videos, but they're doing them anyway, and what a good giggle, what a joy that's going to be. So, as always, like I say, leave your thoughts in the comments, and until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these, for now, ciao, ciao.